Blog Talk Radio. Hi, everyone, and welcome to The Wellness Coach on Blog Talk Radio. I'm your host, Edie Summers, and I'm so excited today. We have a very, very special guest, and this is going to be, I think, really transformative for a lot of you who are listening. My guest today is Joy Leng, and we're going to be talking about coaching for heart-centered women. Do you struggle with self-esteem or feeling worthy? These are really big topics for a lot of people and a lot of women, I believe, in particular. Joy was adopted and struggled with a lifelong sense of feeling worthless. And today she believes in empowering women to recharge, renew, and remember their womanhood through her professional and humanistic endeavors. Joy Leng is the founder of Joylight Transformational Coaching and Empowerment Coaching for Women company. And Joy is joining us from Singapore. I'm super excited. So she's coming on through Skype. She'll be on here in just a few minutes, and I'm going to read to you some of Joy's really fascinating and empowering biography. Joy, like I said, has been empowering heart-centered women since 2005 when she started one of the first pole dancing studios called Sensual Joy in Singapore. With her experience in empowering women through body awareness, she took on further education in order to be able to empower women through a body, mind, spirit philosophy. She has a BA in psychology, certifications in choice therapy, NLP, and DISC psychometric profiling, as well as the International Coach Federation accredited life coach. That's what she is. And she also founded Joylight Transformational Coaching. She has her own goal-setting coaching program, Let's Step. She volunteers with AWARE, a gender equality advocacy group in Singapore. She's also the firestarter of For Our Children FOC in Singapore, an initiative set up to raise funds to build schools in third world countries. Much of her zest in empowering women comes from a lifelong struggle with a sense of worthlessness as an adopted child. After surviving a failed suicide attempt as a child, she also went into depression from being in several dysfunctional relationships in later years. However, with faith, fortitude, and determination, she not only survived by working hard on her mental resilience, she also thrived through creative methods using dance, makeup, and photography. And today, she is a blazing advocate for empowering women using what has helped healed and inspired her. And I see Joy is on the line, so I'm going to bring her in just a minute here. I'm super excited to speak with her. Joy meditates daily at 5:30 a.m. and likes to say her affirmations while walking the dog. I love that. She's also obsessed with body painting, even though she considers herself hopeless at art. So on that note, I'm going to welcome Joy into the studio. And hi, Joy. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for getting up early. Oh, my goodness. How are you doing today?
I'm feeling good. Can you hear me?
Good. I can hear you, yes. And so thank you so much for being here, and I'm super excited. And I have to say, Joy, that your bio is really fascinating. Could you tell us more about your early childhood and being adopted and all of your fascinating story?
Okay, so so before I start, I have to say a big thank you, Eddie, for inviting me to be interviewed on your podcast. I'm truly grateful. I'm very excited to be here to
my goodness.
talk about what has helped me.
It's such a pleasure. It's such an honor, and I'm thrilled to have you here. And it's been a joy to get to know you, and I find your story really fascinating, and I really do believe that this is an issue that a lot of women struggle with, is feeling worthy and self-esteem, and so I'm curious to know what your story is.
Okay, so as a child, I was adopted, but I wasn't actually aware of it as a child until at some point. It's strange how I only have bits and pieces in my memory. What stays the most through the years is really the feeling of pain and hurt. But I think like the mind has a way to protect you by, not allowing you to have all the memories, repressing some of it. So you can't really see the whole big picture. You only remember the feeling. I think some people will probably be able to relate to that. So I have some memories of, in my mind, the memory is that I was adopted, and as a child, I wasn't aware of it. And then somehow I found out, and I guess the challenge was that I found out on my own. So as a child, can you imagine, like, you found out that, hey, something's wrong. Something's wrong with the big picture, but no one's talking. The adult is not talking. And we're Asian. We come from a culture where we don't kind of talk about painful things, I guess. So when I realized my whole world crashed, as a child, I also didn't have the intellectual capacity to understand what's going on. So
of course.
I was in this space. I was in this place of darkness ever since then, and because I was confused, and because I was hurt, and because I did not understand what was going on, all that was in my mind, that like at a very basic core, even though intellectually the child might not understand, but the child can understand a sense of being wanted and not being wanted.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So in my mind, it was like, okay. So in my mind, the childish interpretation was like, oh, okay, I was given up. Mommy doesn't want me. Mommy doesn't love me.
Wow.
I'm not good.
Wow.
So, and I just stayed in that space, and I grew up in that space.
Oh my goodness.
It was a difficult time for everyone in the family, of course, but it was very hard for me because I had no one to talk to make sense of what was going on, and because of that, I think the hurt kind of deepens.
Oh yes, of course. You had no one to talk to about it, so no one in your family wanted to talk to you about the experience of it, or
I'm not sure actually whether I even talk about it. I probably didn't because I didn't understand what was going on. I wouldn't know how to even initiate that conversation, and and so I grew up with that pain. It was very difficult. The sense of like not being loved, not being wanted, and that I'm not good enough. That is your conclusion. That is the hardest and most dangerous place to go to. And I think most of us go there at some point in our life. Okay, look, I'm not good enough. Clearly, I'm not good enough.
Oh my goodness. And I just my heart aches for you describing that experience and being a young child and just having that basic feeling of feeling like you're not wanted. Like I can't even imagine what that would feel like.
Very difficult space for anyone to go through, much less a child, and I guess much less a child who had no resources or no one to go to who can say, hey, this is what's going on, and don't worry, you're fine, and you're being loved and all. I didn't really have that kind of conversation. I mean, we're Asian, so we don't talk like that.
Okay. So then what happened? So you said that you, if I'm understanding correctly, then you stayed in that space for a while. Is that right?
I think I stayed in that space throughout my life. Like throughout much of my life, I was staying in that space, and even outwardly, as a teenager, and then as I grew up, I might outwardly appear like completely fine and functionable and behave like a somewhat normal person, whatever that means. I was not.
Whatever that means.
I never felt whole. I never felt complete. And the funny thing is, the reason why I am so into learning and so accomplished, actually, it probably started from a wrong place, a wrong motivation. I wanted to prove that I was worthy. I wanted to prove that I was worth something. So I actually had the wrong motivation when I first started learning. The good thing is, what developed was a genuine love for learning and how exciting it was when you have a new piece of information and you're like, wow, I didn't know that. And the next question is, what do I do with this? So the good thing for me was
absolutely.
The learning was inspiring at the same time, even though the motivation was wrong. It took me a long time to move from the space of like, okay, all this qualification make me feel good. But the truth was, it didn't really, it wasn't the solution. It didn't solve what I was feeling inside. It never really made me feel whole. It's like you have a wound, and this wound is quite serious. You really should go to the hospital, but what you do is you put a handy plaster. That was basically what I did. I put some handy plaster on it, but it doesn't work. Maybe it stopped the blood from sitting out because it's a lot of handy plasters going on. But the reality is you need attention. You need like professional medical attention. And it took me a while to come to that space where I'm like, okay, look here. I realized what I was trying to do with all my qualification, and that is wrong, Joy. And to have that conversation with myself, it hurts because it's still a lot of effort trying to get all this qualification that I had, and to actually after many years of doing that, turn around and say to yourself, you know what? I think that is not from the right place, and you need to really resolve the source of your pain instead of putting handy plaster on it, because it doesn't work like that. You can't fully heal if you just keep on putting handy plaster.
I think that's very well said, and Joy, I would love to get to how you did get to the root core, but I just have to say that we all cope the best that we can at any given point in time, and it's so we just have to sort of be okay, like just give ourselves compassion and self-compassion for doing the best that we can and could in any situation. And then I also heard you talking about resources, like you felt like you had no resources when you were younger, and I would say just from an outsider's point of view, like teaching learning, getting certifications and learning that gave you resources. So I would say on a practical level, just as an outsider, I would say that it was useful, whatever the motivation was, because it just gave you more resources. So
that's very true.
That's my 2 cents.
Because no matter what, the more you learn, the more you develop the brain. At some point, you develop a thinking mind. You actually you become a thinker, and you are able to analyze the same situation and from a very different plane, because of you are introduced to different ideas, different concepts, and different philosophy, and different people's way of living. I think these are all very stimulating for the brain, and so I think that it still helped me grow into the person that I am today. And it's like that was probably a form of first step, and without that first step, I can't go to the second step. And the second step was the realization that, okay, wait a minute, the first step, while it was beneficial, it's not wholesome, it's not complete. But I was going about it like it was, like this is it, like this is the solution, this is the solution to solve all my problems. But it was without the first step, there was no second step.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said? Without
the first step, there will be no second step. The second step was the realization that, okay, well, what I'm doing is good. But there is this space that is not being resolved, which is like, like I need to come to a place of self-acceptance, come to a place of accepting and loving reality the way it is, as hard as it might view it in my mind. That's how can I possibly do that? That was painful. That's what the voices in your head would just keep telling you, like, play the victim, right? Playing the victim is dangerous. It can become a habit. It can be so habitual that you refuse to think of other vantage point, and that is a dangerous space. And that's where I was. But when the awareness came that, hey, look here, there are other perspectives to embrace. What is reality? What has already come to pass? And acceptance is very hard. And in order to accept and stop playing the victim, you just have to work on self-compassion. And I think that was the missing link for me. And I avoided it for the longest time because it's kind of like a paradox, because how can I possibly give self-compassion to myself when clearly I'm not lovable enough? That's why I was given up. So that was a constant.
Wow. Is it okay if we just slow down right there, because I really feel like that's super relevant for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Kind of like that paradox of feeling like, how can I give myself love and self-compassion if I'm not lovable, if I wasn't, just like what it. So how does self-compassion itself resolve that issue? Is that
self-compassion is very powerful, and because when you're willing to take one step back and break your state and break that broken record that keeps playing in your head for years and years, and just examine that tape and say, hey, maybe there are other songs that I can sing. I don't have to sing this song all my life.
Beautiful.
And to be able to pause, take a step back, and get out of this habitual loop that you're having, to break your state and to say, hey, wait a minute here. Like, is there a better song that I can sing? How about another song? How about this one? And it will feel very strange, and every fiber of your being is going to resist it. And like, no, we've been doing this for years. No, you can do
We're not used to this.
It's comfortable, right? And to be able to just sit with the discomfort and say, yes, I understand, but what if we sing this other song, which is I Am Enough? That's a very, very hard song to sing when you've been singing the other song for years and years, where, something happened, therefore it means this, which is always something negative. I'm not good enough. I'm not special enough. And then how can I love myself? To stop singing that and say, well, maybe I am lovable enough, and maybe I am enough. That's difficult. But once you get started, you have to start with the willingness to say, okay, this might be very uncomfortable, but I don't mind giving it a try. And to just start from that space and then be gentle with yourself and, take baby steps. It didn't happen to me overnight. It took years. It took years.
Okay.
And some days that song just doesn't gel. On some days you're like, no, come on, it's that song, because you're so familiar with that song. And then on some days you okay, I'm like, okay, I'm quite okay with this new song. It's still very strange, but I'm willing to sit with it for today. So it takes time, and some days you win, some days you don't, and just let it be okay.
Oh, I love that. Let it be okay, no matter what. And that's self-compassion right there, I think. That's love right there.
So, so I think self-compassion is also like, it's also like a kind of muscle that you need to exercise on. The more you build it, this is strength that it gets. And but it's not a magic pill. You can't take a pill tomorrow. I'm wholesome, I'm enough. Like, it was like that.
Interesting. That's so interesting to me that I love how you say it's like a muscle, and even on the days when I have to say that I think this is extremely relevant, on so many levels, Joy, because I think so many people, experience that feeling of not feeling like they're good enough. I mean, I think this is a really core feeling and experience for many, many people. So I really feel like your message is going to reach so many people. And then especially when we're really honing in on how this, empowers women, and also talking about kind of like the trauma piece, right? Like coming from a place where you've experienced maybe early childhood trauma, and how do you resolve that? And I love your message of self-compassion, and I also love that you're the example of it. I mean, and just look at everything that you are. I mean, you're a shining light, and it's so inspiring to me. I just want to just thank you for having the courage to, love yourself really, and like, and shine and light the way for other women and people in general.
Thank you, Eddie. I don't really see myself as a world shining light, to tell the truth. I went through this pain. It's almost like you went through fire. You came out different, and fire did something to you. You become refined.
So interesting.
And I always give this, one of my favorite analogy is like a phoenix. If you want a new life, if you want to claim your higher self, you need to die first.
Oh, interesting. So interesting. I really love that, and it really is like creating a new paradigm and living from a whole different level. And Joy, I wanted to let you know that. Oh wait, we had a caller on the line. It looks like they're gone now. But I really love how you say that. And so coming through the fire, I mean, that is just fascinating. That is really, that strikes a chord with me, and it's just so authentic and real, the way that you say that. I just really appreciate you saying that. And I know that, so you have, and I know we could talk forever, but we're on here for about maybe another 10 or 15 minutes. We have that much time together today. And I know that you're offering a self-compassion 7 days challenge for people. Did you want to tell people a little bit more about that?
Okay, yes, I would love to. I'm very excited about the challenge, really, and I am launching the challenge actually alongside with this podcast interview, so I'm really jazzed about.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, so the listeners will actually be among the first to take up this free challenge. So it's a 7 days self-compassion challenge where every day you are given one task where you have to accomplish, and it's related to building on your self-compassion muscle.
Love it, love it. And then how do people participate in that? So I know there's a link on the show page here, and so I can read that. Let's say I can read it for people. So anyone who's listening, if you're on your phone or on the internet, or on your computer, you can actually go to the show page, and this is a free gift for you for listening. And I think that's just amazing and super exciting, Joy, that you're launching this in conjunction. Like, this is the first time you're launching this on this program. That is just super cool. So this is a free gift for people for listening. So you can find the link on the show page. I'm going to read it to people. Is that okay too if I read it? I don't know if people will remember, but they might. So I recommend you go to the actual show page so you can click on the link. But for anyone who's listening who can remember to type it in, you do https :/2 joylight.leadpages.co /the wellness coach /. So again, that's kind of long, so I recommend that people, although it's easy to remember in some ways, so I recommend you go to the show page to click on that. And this is a free gift that you, Joy, put together just for listeners on the Wellness Coach, which I think is just amazing, and I just program. So is there anything else you can share with people about the program, or just like, some of what are some practical steps people can take to get to that place where they can begin to love themselves and feel their own sense of worth and start practicing self-compassion? I mean, it sounds like to me that that's what your self-compassion 7 days challenge is all about, isn't it?
Yes. So I know self-compassion is a very strange concept for most of us, because we live in a culture where you should suck it up and, be cool and come on, don't focus on your emotion. Like, this is your to-do task, go with it, right? And we walk around wounded and proud of our wounds. And why should we live like that? How about practicing some self-compassion, and maybe that is a greater place of power to live your life, rather than going around beating yourself into the suck it up culture. Go against the flow. Like, why do you have to follow the mainstream? You should take care of yourself first. Practice self-compassion. If you want to learn how to treat other people better, and you feel like you're struggling with it, that's probably because you're not compassionate to yourself first. Because if you start practicing that muscle, then treating other people better will come like a very natural outcome. It's just one of the byproduct of being self-compassionate. So start from within instead of looking outside.
Wow. I think that's so well said. And thank you for that reminder, because like you said, this is a muscle. This does take practice, and it is a whole different way of being. And I love, again, the analogy of going through the fire. But, this is the work. Like, it's so worth it. We're talking about feeling worthy, and it's so, anyone is worth it to go through and literally go through the fire and take the time to learn to love yourself and practice self-compassion. It's worth it. It's worth the journey. It's probably the most important journey.
It's probably the best journey you can ever take.
Yeah.
It's like a magic carpet ride. If you are willing to just work on your self-compassion muscle bit by bit every day, it's going to be the best magical carpet ride you can ever possibly give to yourself. And I always like to say, start on a 7-day self-compassion challenge, because it gives you an inkling what to do. Because I know it's like, oh, okay, so let's change destination. But how do you go there, right? It's difficult. Like, I've never done this before. I've never been there. Like, how do I go there? Mm-hmm. So the 7-day challenge is kind of like pointing you to the right direction. And then after 7 days, you will kind of get a hang of it. Okay, so this is kind of like what I'm going to do, and what's included inside the challenge. Are techniques that also help you to shift a little bit of your mindset, and mindset is the stickiest thing to unstick and let it stick in another place. It's difficult, so I strongly encourage anyone who wants to take on this new journey for themselves to take on a 7-day challenge. It's an excellent starting point, and you can go to the show notes, or you can simply go to my website, joylink.com. If you go to the right hand corner, there is a section called Free Empowerment Tools, and you can just click on it.
Perfect. Yes. Perfect. Thank you for saying that. So that's probably easier for people to remember if they're just listening and not near their phone or a web. Yeah. So we go to joyleng.com, so JOYLENG.com. That's easy to remember, JOYLENG.com. And then click on the right-hand side. You said there's, what is it? You said there's like free empowerment tools?
Yes, on the sidebar on the right side, scroll down to Free Empowerment Tools, and then click on Self-Compassion 7 Days Challenge. There are other freebies in that section that you can just click away. All we need is your email address. I can send you the 7 Days Challenge, and we actually have private Facebook where you can actually post your triumph or your challenges doing the challenge, so that there's even a community to uphold and support you in your journey.
I'm so glad you said that too, Joy, because having that community, having that support is crucial. And it's what I've learned is that when you make a commitment to yourself for whatever it is that you wish to change or inhabit or walk through the fire, because I find that walking through the fire is walking through fear, and then on the other side is freedom. So the first step is to make that commitment, and then once you make that commitment, say signing up for your free 7-day challenge, then finding support on the other side is what keeps you going down that road. So it's what helps keep your commitment, and that's huge. So I think that's really great. Thank you for offering that page too. And just for anyone who's listening live, we are going off the air in about 60 seconds. We do have about 5 minutes left, Joy. I just wanted to let you know. So anyone who's listening live, you can listen back to the replay if you want to hear the very end of this. But again, you can go to joyleng.com, JOYLENG.com, and then just click on the right-hand side for the free empowerment tools. You can also find the free gift for listening just right here on the show page, and we have that link for you right here. So there are a couple ways to join Joy in the Self-Compassion 7 Days Challenge. I just love that. And Joy, so we have just a few minutes left here, and I just want to thank you so much for being here, and it's just a real pleasure to speak with you and to hear your wisdom. And is there anything that you want to leave people with, like, just like a final, like a takeaway or anything along those lines?
I'm going to I would like people to consider this. Talk to yourself like you are your best friend. Try that today.
Oh, I love that. Just for today.
Just
I
for
love
today.
that. Joy, that is really beautiful, and I really feel like you're coming from such an authentic place, and a place that you've been there yourself, so what it feels like, and you've already walked through that fire. So this feels so like authentic to me, and I just thank you so much.
Anyone can join me here. You just need to walk through the fire.
It's the best analogy ever. It really is. And I think that, I've been studying that, kind of like you were talking about mindset. I'm in a mastermind, and it's all about mindset. And really the last 10% of anything is facing your fear. And whether it's the fear of being unlovable, or fear that you're not worthy enough, or fear that you can't change. And what I find is that it takes courage to walk through that fire, going the last few steps.
Yeah,
it
does. And for anyone who needs actual visual image to understand, fully appreciate the concept, well, I'm sure there's lots of like Game of Thrones fans here, and I'm sure there's lots of people who adore Khaleesi. Well, see how she walked through the fear. She was willing to do that. And look at her now.
Love it. That's
beautiful,
so awesome.
Goddess, and she's brave. And you know what? You can put your brave on today as well. Just walk through the fire, and you can start by being your own best friend.
Oh, love it. And Joy, you're a goddess too, and thank you so much for being here. It's been such a pleasure to meet you and to speak with you today and to get to know you better. And thank you so much for sharing your story and your gifts with everyone, the whole world today. And thank you for being here, and you're welcome back anytime. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. You've been listening to The Wellness Coach on Blog Talk Radio. And again, go to Joy's website. That's the easiest way to get your free gift for listening today. It's www.joyleng.com, and then click on the right-hand side for your free empowerment gifts. Is that right, Joy? And then you can go from there. Free empowerment tools. You can also, again, find your free gift for listening right on the Wellness Coach's show page for this episode. And so, Joy, thank you so much for being here, and I hope to continue the conversation, and it's just been a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Addie, for having me, and it's a blessing to know you. I appreciate being on the show. Thank you so much.
Likewise, thank you so much, and have a beautiful day there in Singapore, and I'm sure I'll talk to you soon offline. And everyone, thank you. Everyone, thank you so much for listening. You've been listening to The Wellness Coach on Blog Talk Radio, and we hope that you have a beautiful and empowered and fulfilling rest of your day wherever you are in the world. Take care, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.